Have you ever been afraid to show who you really are? Has someone ever made you feel like you need to hide your true self? Well, tonight we're going to hear the story behind a girl who felt exactly that way. Coming up on Real Students. Hello, and welcome to Real Students. I'm your host, Nicole Young. Today we are looking at the short film Lifted. Here with us is the director of photography, Josh Vandermeer. So Josh, you worked as the director of photography. What challenges did you face in the production?
What challenges? I'd say one of my biggest challenges was, some people call it the film trifecta. You have money, you have time, and you have quality, and you can only have two. So I think a lot of our issues in this production were, I'm not going to say money because money is always kind of like a good thing that we deal with as like artists, where we like make do out of what we have. But I think one of the biggest difficulties during the shooting was definitely time. There were a lot of days where we were really rushed, and it was really kind of like a team effort and like a big feat just to get things done in time.
Well, speaking of time, I know you spent an extensive amount of time there in LA filming this. What do you think you walked away learning?
Oh man. I say the semester I spent in LA at the Los Angeles Film Studies Center was probably like the most valuable time I've ever had since like going to college. And it wasn't necessarily even like the films I made. I think I'm still proud of Lifted, but the most valuable thing was I learned I learned more about what I want to do and who I want to be, and like what I think my mission is like in the industry of film.
And I feel like that very point, I watched the film before, and I feel like that point also plays a large role into the message and the theme of the film. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so like the message of the film kind of revolves around this girl who doesn't know exactly who she is, and most of all, she's just not comfortable with who she is. She has this superpower of like telekinesis where she can control things with her mind, but she hurts people, and she's almost like scared of herself, and she's scared to be who she really is. So Lifted is about the story of this girl who comes to grips with who she really is and not trying to hide and listen to her mom tell her like, you need to act this way, and like, I'm not proud of you. What Claire, the main character in Lifted, does is she moves from the state of like sadness where she like knows she can't love herself and be herself, to the state where it's like she knows that it may not be easy to be herself because she has like a very like weird kind of power issue, but she learns that the best way to live is to be proud of yourself and learn to accept yourself for who you really are.
I see. Well, since you're playing at PLNU, do you think that that's the targeted audience you think that the producers and directors had for this film, or who do you think would be able to relate to this film the most?
I don't think that there was a specific targeted audience. I think it was a short film that's just targeted at, I don't know, short film junkies. I think it has the power to speak to anyone. I know that no matter who you are, you have to have some time in your life where you kind of contemplate like the reason behind like what you do or who you really are. So this film totally speaks to that and encourages you to kind of accept yourself for who you are and really just own it.
Well, since you were a representative of PLNU going to LA, was it a real pleasure having experience that you could put your hands on versus in the classroom? Were you able to take a lot of the things you learned in a lot of the comm classes and take it over there, and how well equipped did you feel for that?
I felt pretty well equipped. It was nice to go into the school with kind of a background in production, so I had experience and I wasn't completely learning it from the ground up. But at the same time, I'm wary to go into something and go in with a prideful attitude. And I think I kind of had that a little bit when I first went to the school. I really thought I was better than I really was. And I think that was one of the things I had to work through during that semester, was like just kind of letting my ego dissolve and just learning to take lessons from every experience and kind of not kind of throw away experiences because I think, oh, I'm too good for that, or I already know that lesson. If I already have had a lesson, I feel like doing it again just makes me better at it. So yeah, already having experience was really helpful at the school. but is totally not required. What the focus of the school is to do is to take somebody who's like maybe a person who's like a veteran at like shooting short films at their school, or a person who's never shot film at all, and kind of give them a window into how like the film world works, and teach them in like an area they may be interested in, and maybe sort of like give them a platform to step up to something like that they might want to do sometime in the future.
This is a very humbling and very learning experience.
Yeah.
When we come back, join us as we explore the ups and downs of the short film Lifted.
Good morning, Point Loma.
Maddie Louds, Julie McKibben.
Hi, I'm Julie McKibben.
Breaking news. I'm here with Kelsey Lowe, who just got dumped by her boyfriend.
As a freshman, he was allowed a car. He scans himself into chapel. He once beat the Point Loma baseball team single-handedly, blindfolded. His pet cat is Rory the sea lion. He is the most interesting student at Point Loma Nazarene University.
Dude, what are you doing? You're not supposed to film this. Well.
Welcome back. Once again, here is Josh Vandermeer. All right, Josh. So you were the DP, director of photography, or cinematographer. It's kind of a vague job because most people think it's just lighting and it's just cameras and the aesthetics of the art of the film. But can you kind of lead us in a day-to-night job of what it's like to really be the DP?
Yeah, so the DP or the cinematographer is totally responsible for what the film ends up looking like when it's completed. So that job starts like at the very beginning when the director is chosen, like he or she chooses a director of photography. And they work really closely in junction because the director has this vision of what they want it to look like. And they work with the DP, and the DP is the one with the skill set to actually bring the director's vision to life. So the director will tell the DP what shot compositions they want, what like camera movements, like what colors, everything. And the DP has to know exactly how to like take that and translate it on camera so that you have an actual like tangible image to show. So the very beginning of the job, like I said, is talking with the director and kind of getting an idea of what they want, because ultimately I think a lot of cinematographers have a misconception, and especially student cinematographers think that they should have a huge sort of impact on the film, but like a true cinematographer is someone who's a slave to the director. Our job isn't to make our own little pet project, but a good cinematographer is a person who can adapt to the director's vision and like bring to life what the director wants. So after they talk about like all the aesthetics and what they want it to look like, a lot of times it's like they go into like a stage of prep. So you like as a DP, I'm thinking about what every setup is like. We go scout. We look at before we shoot. We go scout. Date like months in advance, and we look at every location. We see like what power they have, what the place looks like, what we need to bring, what we think is like. We make compromises from what we want, what we see in our head, and what we think we can actually bring out in real life. So then after all that prep work is done, we've talked about what we're going to do for lighting. We've planned out how the lighting is going to work. We like have rented all the equipment and know everything. Then you go into production. And during production, the director of photography is a person who basically directs the camera crew and the lighting crew in a way like that brings them together. So they'll direct the lighting crew and tell them exactly what lights to use, where to put them, and direct the camera crew, like we're gonna have like this sort of motion with the camera, I want you to put the camera right here. That's the director of photography's job. And it can be pretty stressful because technically on set, the director of photography probably has the biggest responsibility out of anyone, because the director has probably already done rehearsals and everything with everyone, and they're constantly watching and making decisions, but the director of photography has a huge responsibility to know what he wants ahead of time and be able to tell his crew how to do it, like in a really quick fashion, because time is like always of the essence. And then a lot of people think that the director of photography's job is done after, is done once the production is complete. But director of photographies or cinematographers still have a responsibility to do like the post-production kind of color editing. So after the film has been edited and you have picture lock, which is basically saying we can't change any of these images because we gave it off to sound people and they're working on sound. So then the director of photography will work in the final stages to sort of create like a look. So they'll work with a colorist and kind of go through the process of manipulating the colors of the film and tweaking it to get it to the vision that they had in their head from the very beginning. So that's one of my favorite parts, actually, is after you've shot it, it's been edited, now you go to the final product, and it's like the time where you make your production or your film look really pretty, and I really like that.
Well, I think you shed light on the demands of that job that many people weren't really aware of. So it's very, very demanding.
Yeah.
But enough work. Let's go more to the reward. What after shooting it, and after filming, after editing, after it's all said and done, what is your proudest moment of this film?
I think I had a couple really proud moments, and I think one of them was after our second. It was actually our third day. No, it was our third day of shooting. Yeah, we had shot, I swear, for over 18 hours. I think we started at like 5:30 in the morning, starting to light a scene that we were gonna shoot the second the sun comes up, and we were shooting until like late at night, like nonstop as fast as we could the entire time. So we were beat. And I think the second we finally called, like, that's a wrap, that's the last shot for that day, it was a pretty rewarding feeling knowing that, man, I worked with this group of 12 other people for 18 hours. And yeah, we were stressed out and we went through a lot of stuff, but it's like we finished and we did our job. So at the end of that day, I just was kind of like looking back to all the things that had happened. Like when we first started the day, it was still dark outside and it was like super foggy, and I had my crew climbing up the side of a building at a high school we were shooting at to put a giant flag or a giant like kind of like a sun blocker on the roof, and they're climbing up there, and like the custodian shows up and starts like barking at them, and then like one of the guys in my crew on the roof starts a fight, and they start like bickering back and forth and things like that. Like things happen throughout the day where I think, well, we might not even finish. So after all the things like that, at the end of the day, after 18 hours of shooting, it was definitely like a good feeling. And I think the next morning we all went to Denny's together, and it was like probably one of the most fun breakfasts of my life. But I think the most rewarding thing from that film out of anything was that I made some really good friends with the people on that shoot, and I know I'll probably have lifelong friendships with them because we were really with each other through the thick and the thin through that.
That's wonderful. Well, let's take a look at Josh Vandermeer's short film, Lifted.
No, you don't. Please, after you do it. I'm sorry. I'm done. No, we need to. Oh.
I never asked for any of this. I never wanted to be this way. She says I can learn to control it. But he says I'm dangerous. I'm scared to help her. I'm scared of what I'll do. Why can't I be normal?
Claire? Come on, I'm gonna be late. Why are you always locking the door?
It's not locked, the door just sticks.
Claire, is everything okay? Everything's still normal?
Yeah? Mom, don't worry. Everything's normal.
Claire, I know what you're doing in your room. Promise me that you won't go around doing that.
Catch you later, loser.
Hey, are you okay? Russell?
Yeah, I'm fine.
I don't think I've seen this one before.
The Adventures of Nightingale, Volume 1, mint condition. It's my favorite of all time.
Why?
Because she's the best. Not only is she an awesome superhero, she inspires other people to be heroes too. Plus, she can fly. Don't you think it'd be cool to fly?
Fly?
Yeah, you know, it's just... everything would be simpler that way.
Where do you think you're going, huh? You know better than to run.
Hey! Don't you think he's had enough from you two today?
Hey, keep walking. Oh!
You're gonna pay for that.
Man, those guys must have it out for you.
How did you do that? You're like a superhero.
You can't tell anyone about this. Promise me.
Fine. I promise. But you shouldn't have to hide who you really are.
Mom!
But you promised you weren't gonna do that anymore.
Mom, I'm sorry.
Someone saw you.
No one saw me. That's why I waited until...
Claire, that's not right. You can't keep doing this. It's not...
It's not what? Normal? I'm sorry, but I don't think I'll ever be normal.
Where do you think you're going?
I'm leaving.
Claire, please, let's talk about this.
No! I'm sick of pretending. I'm not doing this anymore.
Claire, please.
Let go of me.
Claire!
Let go.
Claire!
Let go! really messed up, Mom. I'm so sorry. I just wanted you to be okay with me being different. Claire.
I never asked for any of this. I never wanted to be this way. But I'm starting to realize something. I don't have to be scared anymore. I don't have to hide. I am different. But that's what makes me normal.
Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for joining us, Josh, with your time. We hope to see many more projects like that from you soon.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Point Loma, for watching Real Students. I'm Nicole Young. Join us next time.